بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك أستغيث أصلح لي شأني كله ولا تكلني إلى نفسي طرفة عين. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you all for coming today. And thank you for those who are listening on the live stream. Inshallah, today we're continuing the discussion on the 14th word. If you have the book, you'll find it on page 177. If not, where it's here on the screen. This word is discussing specific verses and how they can be understood. Particularly verses that have raised some conversation in which it doesn't give these verses its true value. So we're trying to read these verses differently, or we're trying to see the value and the meaning in these verses. So today we're going to start off from the 4th. For example, consider the elevated truth expressed by verses like, indeed, his command when he wills a thing is be, and it is. This is verse 82 from chapter 36. Another verse says, and the decision of the hour is as the twinkling of an eye. And the decision of the hour is as the twinkling of an eye. This verse can be found in chapter 16, verse 77. Another verse says, and we are closer to him than his jugular vein. That's a very famous verse, I think. It can be found in chapter 50, verse 16. And finally, the angels ascend to him in a day, the measure of which is 50,000 years. This can be found in chapter 70, verse number 4. So I guess the question here is, how do you read these verses? Given that if you read them literally, it will be confusing. Like, we are closer to him than his jugular vein. I mean, if I'd read this literally with my immature way of thinking, I'd be like, okay, now I need to find my jugular vein and see what's closer. Or what does 50,000 years supposed to mean? And how is it that the decision of the hour is as the twinkling of an eye? I mean, a twinkling of an eye is something so easy and so simple. And the decision of the hour seems to be something very serious. And then finally, his command when he wills a thing is be, and it is. And then, I mean, if I'm reading these verses, I'm like, well, first of all, how is that, how is this real, or how can it be true, or is this even something logical to believe? So I guess the point of these verses today is to sort of see how we can read them and how can we approach them. Before I start reading on, I see a note, a comment from Brother Adi. He's saying, how are we going to believe in these verses? We have not seen them. Sounds just claims. Exactly. So how can we believe in them? Anyone wants to share any comments or questions before I start to see what the author has to say? Okay. Well, he's saying, for example, consider the elevated truth expressed by the verses that we just read together, which is that the absolutely powerful one creates things with such ease and speed, with such facility and lack of trouble, that it appears and is understood that he creates with a mere command. Exactly. I mean, the verses are kind of giving me the impression, look, I create everything easily, without any trouble, and it's as simple as me commanding it. I mean, the author of the verses is claiming that. So let's see how are we gonna sort of understand this. The author says also, although the all-powerful maker is infinitely close to beings, they are infinitely distant from him. Okay, this is confusing. He's saying the all-powerful maker is infinitely close to beings, but they are infinitely distant from him. Furthermore, despite his infinite might and glory, attaching importance to them, he also sets in order the most insignificant and lowly matters, and does not deny them the beauty of his art. Okay, thus the perfect order with absolute ease observed in beings testifies to the existence of this Quranic truth. Okay, wait a second. He's saying the perfect order within absolute ease observed in beings testifies to the existence of this Quranic truth. So it's almost like the author is inviting me to look at the perfect order, notice that there is ease in it, and then notice how what the verses are saying are very similar to what I see. Okay. The following comparison demonstrates its meaning and wisdom. For example, and God's is the highest similitude. The duties the Son displays through the dominical command and divine subjugation, which is like a dense mirror to the divine name of light, among the all-glorious makers, most beautiful names, brings this truth closer to the understanding. What truth are we talking about? We're talking about the truth that the all-powerful maker is infinitely close to beings, yet everything is distant from him. Meanwhile, the most insignificant matters are still given the beauty of his art. Meanwhile, there's a perfect order, and we can see that there is ease in this order. Nothing is mixed up, nothing seems to be confused about its job. So now we need to see if the following analogy will help us understand these truths. Any comments before we see the analogy? Okay. Although through its elevatedness, the sun is in... Oh, go ahead, Brother Ati.
Exactly, you emphasized what does it mean? He is infinitely close to beings, but the beings are infinitely distant from him. What does it mean? Infinitely close, yeah. How do we understand that he is infinitely close? When we look at the universe, we don't see anybody close to beings, anything close to beings. I think we have to rethink again, or reorder, put our thinking into a new order. It means he is infinitely close to the beings, creatures, if we understand that the things need to be created, and existence of the things continues to change, we can understand that they have been under treatment continuously. For example, if an artist is continuously changing his art, but the artist, of course, as the artist changes, it perfects it as a human being. It's an example, only an example, analogy. So we have to be careful while we are using the analogies. But as far as the existence of the universe is concerned, when we see that at every moment, the universe is constantly in perfect order. And every moment is perfect, but every moment is changing perfectly as well, in a perfect way. It means the creator is giving existence, whatever the source of creator is, it is, or he is, giving existence to beings continuously. I don't see the creator, but I see the created beings are being changed. But what does it mean? It means the one who is giving existence to them are being always, so that is the one who is giving existence to them, to the beings, must be always busy with it. It means always with it. Now come back to the artist and art example. If the artist continues to changing, even if we don't see the artist and his brush or her brush, we see that the artist continues to changing, or whoever is the artist is with them, with the art, always with the art, together with the art, dealing with it, treating it. But at the same time, the art is subject to the will of the artist, and it cannot go and be next to the artist. It is subject to the will of the artist. Whatever the artist wills, it has to get the new shape. It has no other option to reject it, etc. As artist wants, wills it to be, and it is. It has to be in this way. We can say that the artist is always busy with the art and with it present in its being, but at the same time, the art has not get closer to the level of existence of the artist at all. I mean, the art cannot become, for example, in the examples that we gave, art and artist example in this word, art cannot go and treat with artist at all. Although artist is always present there, dealing with the art. This is what we have to understand, and it is beautiful if we really grasp this and get used to looking at the world as they continuously, constantly are changing. We will be excited to see the one who is changing is not physically there, of course. He cannot be the one who's creating and changing the universe as if it is a piece of art, cannot be within the art. It is a completely different existent being whose existence, the level of existence, state of existence is completely unimaginable, not within the universe. An example of it we can find in the universe, because whole universe is his art. because the universe is not created partially, and completed it. No, the universe has been created at every moment in its perfect form. So we cannot imagine the existence level of the artist, but not being able to imagine does not necessarily mean that I can deny it. No, there must be somebody giving existence and constantly changing it. There must be something. Or this thing cannot be within the universe because universe is the art. We are questioning the artist. So we can, if we have this understanding, it is beautiful that we can look at the universe and seeing as if the artist is at work always. It means I cannot ignore the artist at every moment. It is present there as far as my perception of existence is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you. I was confused with the sentence, so thank you for that. I see another hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just briefly wanted to add that, like, the way that I understand the verse, it talks about like the creator and the created world being in different dimensions. So like when it says that he is infinitely closer to us, but we are infinitely like far from him, I think it's just like simply saying that there are two different dimensions that we are talking about here. So like God can be infinitely closer to us because we are the art, he's the artist, and we are product of him. And we are infinitely far from him because you can only reach or get closer to him in your conscious based on the awareness, how much like you are aware of the fact that you are continuously being created.
Thank you. I think when you were both talking, it made me think of the question, well, if I'm infinitely distant from him, I don't know how to phrase the question, but like, should I want to be close? I mean, should my goal then be is to strive to be close to him? Or should I just I don't like the word should, but I can't find a better word. But I guess I think I sent the question is clear somehow. Like if I'm infinitely distant from him, I immediately felt like, oh my God, like this is bad or this is not good news for me. But then I asked myself, well, do I think that by being close to him is a good thing? Is this what I should be striving for, basically?
No, in our, as far as I understand, at our consciousness of his being in act of creating the universe constantly, if I am conscious of it, I am consciously at his presence. It means I am always with him. How? By my consciousness of his presence there in his action. Not that physically I can be, because I am infinitely far away from being next to the creator, or because we are not at the same level of existence. He is the creator, I am his art. So if the art has consciousness, he can say, yeah, I am being made continuously. My creator is busy with me. It means, busy word is maybe misunderstood, but I understand that I am being constantly treated by my creator. This awareness makes me at the presence of God or in the presence of God.
I guess like my answer for the question would be like, why should I be closer to him, or why should I even worry about it? I mean, you don't have to worry about it if you don't feel the need. But the question is, do you really find your life really meaningful? And do you really feel at peace with whatever you are doing, like in the rest of your life, without having a God or consciousness of God in your understanding? If you are happy with it, then there is no point to worry about the getting closer to him. But I don't think it is really possible for a human being to live a comfortable life and not be in conflict all the time and not wondering what's the meaning behind all these experiences I go through.
Thank you. Thank you for helping you figure this out, helping us. I see another hand. Please go ahead.
My experience with this question is related to how I ultimately find myself. And I ultimately find myself needy and dependent, and being the one who is 100% receiving in my life. So I see that the flow is who is always receiving my existence, and my abilities are being given to me. They're being sometimes taken away from me. Everything in my life is just coming to me, and then it sometimes goes away, and then something else comes. So I notice that the flow is one directional. My ability in this matter seems to be either to turn toward with recognition of who is sending it, or turn away. But I'm completely bankrupt. So no wonder I go and find him, yet it seems that I have
I'm sorry, I can't hear you anymore. I'm not sure if it's just me.
Neither can I.
so yes, I would you still
I heard you still, and then I didn't hear you the rest of the sentence. What was it? I'm sorry. It seems like you're facing some difficulties. I can't hear you. Do you want to like disconnect and reconnect or something? Because I can't hear anything you're saying. Okay, inshallah, she can rejoin and share what you wanted to share. Until then, I'll go ahead and read. I do see a comment. The sun analogy is also kind of a good example to understand. Sun is beside us with light, but we're very far. Yeah, thank you. That's actually what we're gonna start reading about. Although through its elevatedness, the sun is infinitely close to all transparent and shining things. Indeed, is closer to them than their own selves. And although it has an effect on them in numerous ways, like through its manifestation, its image and power of disposal, those transparent objects are thousands of years distant from it. They can in no way have an effect on it. They cannot claim to be close to it. Also, the sun's being as though present and seeing in all transparent particles, and wherever its light enters even, is understood through the sun's reflection, and its image being apparent in accordance with the particles' capacities and colors. I'm gonna repeat that one more time, the first two sentences. Although through its elevatedness, the sun is infinitely close to all transparent and shining things. Okay, this makes sense. Indeed, is closer to them than their own selves. And although it has an effect on them in numerous ways, like through its manifestation, its image and power of disposal, those transparent objects are thousands of years distant from it. Those transparent objects are thousands of years distant from it. I hope it's clear to everyone. Let me know if it's not. They can in no way have an effect on it. They cannot claim to be close to it. Also, the sun's being as though present and seeing in all transparent particles, and wherever its light enters even, is understood through the sun's reflection and its image being apparent in accordance with the particles' capacities and colors. Okay, so good so far? One comment. The light in mirror is very far from sun, not only in terms of distance, but also in terms of level of existence as mentioned. For example, sun is made of fire at first sight, but light in mirror is not out of fire. Okay. If you'd like to elaborate a little more, please do. All right. Furthermore, the sun's comprehensiveness and penetration increase to the vast extent of its luminosity. It is because of the greatness of its luminosity that the tiniest things cannot hide or escape from it. Okay, I guess this is where earlier, the previous paragraph, he was saying even the smallest things are not denied the beauty of the creator's art. I think this is the same thing, that nothing can hide or escape from the luminosity of the sun. This means that through the mystery of luminosity, its immense vastness does not exclude even insignificant and tiny things. On the contrary, it takes them within the sphere of its comprehension. Moreover, if to suppose the impossible, we were to imagine the sun acted with will in the tasks and manifestations it displays, with divine permission, it would function with such ease, speed, and breadth in everything from particles and droplets and the surface of the sea to the planets, that it would be supposed that it performed these mighty disposal through a mere command. Again, this is responding to the verse that says be, and then it is, that everything comes with a lot of ease and lack of trouble. A particle on a planet would be equal before its command. The effulgence it would bestow on the surface of the sea, it would bestow also with perfect order on a particle in accordance with the particle's capacity. Okay. Before we sort of dissect this analogy, everybody's okay? Any questions? Okay. Thus, we see that the sun which is a luminous bubble in the seas of the skies and a small and dense mirror to the manifestation of the absolutely powerful one's name of light. Observedly displays examples of the three principles of this truth. So we surely believe with complete certainty, as though witnessing it, that the all-glorious one, who is the light of light, the illuminator of light, the determiner of light, and in comparison to whose knowledge and power the sun's light and heat is like earth, is all present and all seeing and infinitely close to all things with his knowledge and power, and that the things are utterly distant from him, and that he does things with such ease and facility that it is understood he creates with the ease and speed of a mere command, and nothing at all, great or small, particular or universal, can escape from the sphere of his power, and that his magnificence encompasses all things. And this has to be believed. Wow. Okay. How comfortable are we with this interpretation? Does it make sense? Is the sun analogy really revealing or really helping you see the verses, the 4 verses we started off with? Go ahead. I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Let me type in the chat. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear
Okay,
me?
yeah, sorry, I was having some technical difficulty.
No problem.
So yeah, I wanted to say that like when like this verse, like being it is, like it sounds like there is another agent out there and God is commanding to that agent, and then from like outwardly it seems like that's how it feels like when you like on the surface level. But obviously that's not the case, right? When God creates, things come into existence out of nothing. So, but like, I guess the question is like, why the verse worded in a way that as if God tells something to exist, then it comes into existence. That's like maybe like a question or maybe like or a comment. And the other thing I wanted to say is that the way that I understand this verse, be and it is, everything that we experience in the universe, our own existence, is just a mere reflection of his will. In other words, like the moment he stopped willing for something to exist, like everything will be annihilated. So we are completely dependent on his will, and that is the like the whole universe is the reflection of that will.
Thank you very much for sharing your understanding and your question. I didn't think about it that way. Go ahead, Brother Ali.
Yes, as an extension to what is said, Quran speaks to human beings, because with the Creator speaks to human beings at their level. So human beings want to understand, desire to understand how the things are coming into existence. So the Quran says, if or when God wills something to happen, wills, the willing is very important. The word willing in the used in the Quran. God wills something to happen, he just says be and it is. What does it mean? Not that the verbally, the Quran doesn't speak in this way. Verbally, he says be and something will happen. I mean, the absolute being, how absolute being acts, we cannot understand because we cannot really even imagine his a state of existence, level of existence. He is not like the universe. Universe is his work, his art. He is completely the artist, the creator. We don't know, but we are sure an art is creating everything, giving existence to everything. So we understand that there is no physical interaction in the existence of the things. The universe, as if happens, it's coming into existence in a wonderful way. I don't know. The things are changing themselves. The human beings ask. The things have no will to change, to adjust themselves to the rest of the order of the universe. It doesn't make sense, but somebody is operating on it. How? It is no physical action. That is why Quran says it is a matter of command. It means it is a matter of will. For the creator, he wills, it happens. If we don't try to understand how he wills, because we cannot comprehend him, so that we will imagine how he is doing the thing. It is not of the nature of the universe. It is beyond the capacity of the universe. Universe is his work, piece of art. He is the artist. So we say, it means the creator is such a being that he doesn't need to do anything, just wills and that's it. It comes into existence as he wills. He must be beyond the limitations of space and time, so the universe is nothing, or universe cannot be explained in its existence in no way other than attributing its existence to an absolute being. Absolute is the very important word. I cannot imagine, but there must be such a being. That's why we say God, and no one describes God, can describe, but it is a matter of consciousness, awareness, and being honest that we have to accept there must be an absolute creator in order to explain the existence of this universe. Rather than losing the way the Quran speaks with my language, I should understand what the creator means by it. So be and it is means his will. I cannot explain it another way. The universe is as it is because it is willed to be as it is by its creator. That is the conclusion sentence. Thank you.
Thank you. should we move on to the fifth or any questions here? Okay. The fifth is very interesting. So it says, while the limits, oh, sorry, go ahead. I moved too fast.
Sorry, I keep speaking. So I'm excited to see this light example, the light of the sun example. And the Quran uses this example in an interesting way that he says it is speaking to human beings. He says, the Quran says, God is the light of everything, heavens and the earth. It means everything really existing in the form of this universe. So it is beautiful to see that, as the author said, that the universe is like a mirror reflecting the quality of its creator. So when I look at the universe, or let's imagine really, we have trained ourselves in such a way that when I look at the universe, I look at it as if it is a mirror reflecting the qualities of its creator. It is such an interesting, exciting, amazing experience, always seeing the presence of God in the universe as it continuously is given existence. So I say, whatever way I look at it, I say, oh, the Creator willed it to be in this way, because I am seeing the reflections of the qualities of the Creator in the things existing in this universe. And of course, it is more exciting and a little bit intricate to understand. Can you see manifesting the qualities of your Creator? Oh, it is beautiful. I am made, I am being taken care of. My feelings also created by Him. This experience really makes my spirit, my soul excited and feel in peace. I am being taken care of. I am not alone. It is beautiful feeling. So I can be satisfied with my existence, not worrying what will happen to me tomorrow, and when I die, what will happen to me? Am I going to fall into non-existence completely? All these worries. Hey, my Creator is always with me. It is a beautiful feeling. Only if we really listen to ourselves and have a right way of thinking, using a very intellectually understandable examples or way of thinking, being satisfied with it, not imagining that, let's imagine God is with us. It is impossible. You cannot separate yourself from the act of your Creator so that you will bring it there. Not consciousness, being aware of your existence, completely dependent on it, living with this consciousness and seeing that all the qualities you are experiencing are nothing like a mirror manifesting the qualities, absolute qualities of their Creator. So you feel that, if I, for example, if I feel happy, if I feel angry or worried, excited, I say, this is given to me by my Creator. He is absolute. He will take care of it. That is the best way of feeling peace, serenity, calmness in our existence, not worrying and frightened of what is going to happen to me tomorrow, or if something happens to my property tomorrow, etc. Take care of it, but know that your Creator takes care of you constantly. It is a beautiful feeling. Thank you.
Thank you. Another comment says it's also an invitation to think that it is required to have will in order this existence to happen. It's like there is a missing thing, which is will in what you see out there. Thank you all. We can now move on to the fifth word. So it says, while the limits of the vastness of the monarch of pre-eternity and post-eternity's dominicality and the tremendousness of his Godhead stretch from no just estimate have they made of God, such as is due to him. On the day of judgment, the whole of the earth will be but his handful, and the heavens will be rolled up in his right hand. This is a verse you can find in chapter 39, verse number 67. 2, another verse, and know that God comes between man and his heart. This is in chapter 8, verse 24. Okay, and then the author will start using the same from to kind of what is it called? Like he's gonna give us 2 more verses, but it's like from this verse to this verse. So another set of verses is, and from God is the creator of all things, and he is the guardian and disposer of all affairs. And that can be found in chapter 39, verse 62. 2, God knows what they hide as well as what they disclose. This is in chapter 2, verse 77. I'm so sorry. I think I'm double checking that I'm reading the right one. Sorry. Okay, yes, okay, good. And from who created the heavens and the earth, which is in chapter 7, verse 54. 2, God has created you and what you do. This is in chapter 37 verse 96. The final set is, God has willed this. There's no power but with God. This is chapter 18, verse 39. But you will not, except as God wills. Finally, chapter 76, verse 30. So we have 8 verses here. And he's saying, while the limits of the vastness of the monarch of pre-eternity and post-eternity's dominicality and the tremendousness of his Godhead stretch from and to all these verses, what is the purpose of his stern complaints and severe and awesome threats in the Quran against the sons of Adam? So impotent and infinitely weak, and utterly poor and endlessly needy, who possesses only partial will and have no power to create. In what way is it confirmable, and how is it appropriate? So in order to be convinced of this profound and elevated truth, consider the following 2 comparisons. To be honest, this was a little confusing for me. I'm not sure why is it that he's mentioning these particular verses and then asking the question of, well, what is the purpose of his stern complaints and severe and awesome threats in the Quran against the sons of Adam? I hope when we read this together, we find out the relationship of the question with these verses. Go ahead, Brother Ali.
You are right, actually, asking this question. What is the relationship between the previous 8 verses that the author narrated to us and what's saying at the end, then God is complaining? But in fact, it sounds like God is complaining because the first verse says, no just estimate have they made of God. It is that classical language, and it is difficult to understand, such as is due to him. It means a very simple language. In my language, it's very simply I can put it. You couldn't really appreciate God enough. What does it mean, appreciate God enough? You couldn't really understand how to comprehend what God is, or as the text says, what Godhead means, or being a God means, really. You couldn't do it, you cannot do it. It means he is drawing our attention that we will never be able to comprehend the essence of God at all as created beings. So we will be aware that as a created being, I can only appreciate that existence of my creator, that I have to be respectful, accept, and hesitantly using this word, believe in it. What does it mean with a believe in it? It means, yeah. I don't see physically there, of course. If I see physically, it will be a knowledge. It is not belief. So belief means I don't see something physically, but I absolutely am sure that such a being should exist. But that being is the absolute being. I have to always understand that, look, you cannot comprehend it, you cannot imagine it. Stop trying to comprehend, stop to imagine him, but be sure, make sure that your understanding must be based on witnessing of the creation of the universe, and you must feel fully confident in your conclusion that such a creator must exist, and I must admit that I am his work. So I cannot claim anything or any ownership of anything. I cannot claim that I exist by myself. No. I am created. I have to be humble enough to say that my physical body, my human side, all my feelings are in need of to be created by the one who created the universe, because I am put in complete, perfect interaction with the rest of the universe, as if I am fitting, my existence perfectly fits to the rest of the universe. That is the way I must accept, I must act, I must live in this world with this awareness, and also ask him all my questions. Ask him, why did you create me? What are you expecting of my what are you expecting of me by creating me? What is the kind of responsibility? It means human responsibility that I must be thankful, grateful to you for creating me and using my own feelings about, while I'm using my feelings, I have to bear always in mind that I cannot use my human free will arbitrarily as I wanted. because my consciousness will say, look, your creation is perfectly full of wisdom. So you cannot use yourself as randomly as it comes out, whatever it is, because you are a very precious creature of the Creator. You have to bear in mind that my Creator must have wisdom in creating me. I must search it. I must search for it. So that is my responsibility to ask, not the responsibility that I have to labor, I have to do extra work. No, to be conscious of him, my responsibility is not to ignore him, not to ignore his wisdom in my creation, and be in contact with his wisdom, try to find out why he has created me and act accordingly.
Thank you. Well, I think we can discuss the comparisons next week. We can stop here if no one else has any comments or questions, that we can start off for next week. Okay, well, اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم، وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.